Broadcasting live from the glorious eastern coast of Australia to the darkest corner of your greatest fears. Prepare yourself for terrifying tales of Yowies, UFOs, paranormal anomalies, and much more. Nothing is impossible and nothing is off limits. Welcome to Believe the Night Shift with your host, Cade Moyer.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good night. It is a pleasure to be with you wherever you may be joining us from. We are broadcasting live to YouTube, so if you are watching live, comment below and let me know where you are listening from. My name's Cade Moyer and I'm your tour guide on tonight's journey, and if you wish to join me, we have open lines tonight. So we are taking all your calls. The number is 0730 403096, and for those who are watching live, you can see the call-in number down below. So if you do want to give me a call, the number is there. The line, we do have a single line. That's the only downside to our live shows, is that we're low budget. It's a one-man team, and that means we have to just keep things a little bit simple, but we all have a really, really good time. Well, at least I do, and I hope you do too, all the people who are watching with me. So let me know where you're from. If you are watching this live, in the comments, let me know, because I always really, really like finding out where the show spreads out to, because you just never know where our next story is going to come from. Unfortunately, tonight we are not joined by Gary Lynn. He is still having internet difficulties where he lives, and it's really not surprising. If you live in Australia, you kind of know how bad the internet connection can be. I swear there's like a hamster on a wheel that kind of controls the internet all the way across Australia. So the faster we kind of get onto like Starlink or something like that, the better, because I'm super excited about that. But if you do have a story you want to share, could be a story that happened to a friend of yours, you can call in 0730 403096, and the lines are open. The chat is going here, and Adam has Maggie says it's run by a dead hamster. Yeah, you're not wrong. Some of the internet is quite shocking here, and it is almost better to go off your phones, basically, with a bit of a hotspot. But tonight our connection's good, and we seem to have quite a good number of people joining us at the moment, very early on, which is always good. I do want to let you know though that the show is a strict hour tonight. Without Gary here, we're not going to run overtime. He is a bad influence. So I'm sad he's not here tonight, but you know, I think I will rest easy, knowing that I'm going to finish on time tonight. So guys, if you do want to call in, the number's there. If you want to call in, talk about anything, essentially, it is open lines, whatever you want. Nothing is off limits, like the intro says. So that's why we actually moved the show to YouTube. It is a little bit more friendly to the weirder topics, the topics that might be a little bit shunned on Facebook. So if you do have a conspiracy theory that you even want to call up about, I'd love to dive into that rabbit hole tonight, because who knows where that's going to take us. But I want to talk to you guys about this UFO ballot that is happening over in the United States. And it was actually supposed to happen a little while ago, and it hasn't been released. So you may remember a little while ago that the US government came out, and they basically, what happened was COVID-19 came out, and there was a bill that went along with that to kind of talk about a couple of changes that were going on in the world, and especially over in the United States, and a lot of governmental things. And one of the things that was sneaked in there was a UFO report, and we got that last year back in, I believe, July. It might have been October. But it was quite lackluster to a lot of people. And I can kind of understand the disappointment that a lot of people have. So this is supposed to be something that is annually updated. And unfortunately, it hasn't been released for this year yet. So that basically means that we have potentially some big news coming out or it could be some news that isn't overly exciting. It kind of depends on what your expectations are, because I think that's the big thing that a lot of people kind of get let down on, is the fact that they think the US government is going to come out and say, yeah, look, aliens are real, they're driving these or piloting. I don't even know what the right word would be. I guess piloting would be the right word for a UFO, or a UAP, as they've rebranded it now. And yeah, it is something that I'm always excited about, any type of little bit of disclosure that we do get. So, I'm happy it happens, but in the extent of, are we going to get like full on blown disclosure? I don't think so. But what I am really, really excited about, and I've actually spoken about this a couple of times on live shows especially, is that we are going to be getting a whistleblower protection act when it comes to UFOs. And this is going to be the thing that matters the most, because it's not really what the government is going to come out and say. It's what the pilots are going to come out and say. It's what the people who are in these positions of power, who have experienced something that they really can't quite explain, or, they've witnessed something that is just quite unusual, they're going to be able to come forward and talk about these types of experiences without the fear of losing their jobs, losing their careers, or anything like that. And for me, I think that's the most exciting thing to happen in the world of UFOs in a long time, because I think it was nearly 5 years ago that the New York Times or the New York Post, it's one of those, did the big story that UFOs are real. Here's the leaked footage. So a lot has happened in that 5 years, if you really do want to think about it. A lot of footage has come out, a lot of first-hand experiences, high-level official military personnel have come forward with their UFO encounters. So a lot has changed in just half a decade. When you consider how long the UFO phenomenon has really been in the zeitgeist, we're going all the way back to the 50s, essentially. That's a really, really long time to have so much information not come out, and then we just kind of get the beans are just spilling out of the pot. So yeah, I'm really excited about this bill that's getting passed. And from what I hear, and actually someone in the comment just is talking about it. Ross Coulthard's podcast talked about this week, Kate. Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't listen to that podcast, it is absolutely brilliant. Some genuine journalism that goes on in the UFO world. I believe it's called Need to Know. If you don't listen to it, definitely go subscribe. Ross and his counterpart, his name is escaping me, and I am extremely sorry for that. But they do some genuine investigation around the UFO phenomenon and talk to really, really expert people in their field when it comes to it. It's not they're kind of on a different spectrum to what I am, because I like to talk to the people firsthand, the general public who have had these experiences. They like to talk to the people who have got written testimonies, genuine evidence that kind of backs it up. So that's kind of like radar, video, pictures, physical. They go really, really deep, and that's really cool for me. And that's the stuff that's gonna really make the UFO world, I guess the whole world, notice UFOs a whole lot more. So yeah, really go check out that podcast if you haven't. But yeah, they did speak about this this week as well, where this bill is just kind of taking its time to come out. But for me, the exciting thing is the whistleblower clause seems to have passed, and that means we're going to get a lot more testimonies from a lot more high-level ranking individuals within the government. And that's the stuff that is really, really hard for the naysayers to deny, because unfortunately the government will easily blow off anyone. Phrasing, that's a terrible way to say that. It's really simple for the government to dismiss anyone that is, I guess, in the general public, because it's so easy to kind of fall within how the zeitgeist has just kind of labeled everyone a loony if you've seen a UFO, which is totally not the case, as we all bloody know. So, guys, let me know what you think. Like, what's the most exciting part of I guess, where we've come in 5 years for you? Because I am really interested to see what I guess the listeners, the viewers, what are you excited about when it comes to the ever-changing world of UFOs that we're in? For me, expert testimonies without the threat of career suicide, so to say. For me, that's amazing. And from all reports, that's already happening behind the scenes. Go listen to the most recent episode and Need to Know if you want to find out a lot more about that. They've actually got people on the inside of the government, of these sanctioned areas, and they're kind of filling in the blanks that we don't get to know. So there's a lot of information that is already being told, and I'm super excited to see where that goes for us as the general public. So the Finderer, he goes, contact an intergalactic travel on an ET tour bus. Yeah, mate, you and me both. That would be that would be pretty cool. So, okay, here's a question for you. If you could go on an intergalactic ET tour bus, what's your tiki tour? What's your tiki tour option? Where are you gonna go? You're under 30, you're single, you're under 30 light years old, and you're single. You're cruising around the galaxy. Where are you going? What are you gonna go have a look at on your intergalactic ET tour? I would be down for that. I'll be down for a booze cruise. That's for sure. I would be down for that. So the Finder does say not to Uranus. Well, who knows, mate? That could be the best place in the galaxy. It really depends on what floats your boat. And there's no judgment here. Rod Rupert says the far side of the moon. Very cool choice. I would love to see what's going on there. I love the conspiracy theories when it comes to the moon and, what's on there, what's not on there. I am absolutely dying to get a long, telescopic lens that I can connect the camera that I am doing this on, and we can get some 6K footage of the moon. That is my goal for the new year. So if anyone wants to donate one of those, I would absolutely take it off your hands. Otherwise, I am kind of relying on penny pinching until I can save up for those, because they are very, very expensive. So, but that's something that I want to do. So rather than me kind of just sitting here and you seeing my face, like, a really cool option could be that we have the live stream going, taking calls, and we're doing a tracking of the moon. And who knows what you'll see on there, because I've seen some super, super interesting videos over the years of things happening around the moon or things flying past the moon. I don't know if anyone on here is kind of like a YouTube fan from kind of yesteryear, but there used to be a channel on here called Crow 777, and he captured some mind-bending footage of, I guess, he called it the lunar wave, where it almost looked like there was a projected image over the moon, and it was kind of like a refresh. Like, you could see this ripple wave going over the entire moon, and it was just the trippiest thing ever. He actually wanted to come onto the podcast, which I just don't know why that never really happened. I do think he kind of went down the flat earth route for a little while, though. Maybe he's still doing it, but look, if you're a flat earther, I'm sorry, man. I've got some bad news for you. It's hollow. We're living on a donut earth. That's the truth. And if you don't embrace it, you hate donuts. So Kim Soltra said, yes, she or he saw the lunar wave. And I thought that was really cool. Shane Forsyth says, I'd ask them if we could go into parallel universes. Shane, why would you want to go check everywhere else? Have a look in your own backyard, mate. You never know what you will find. So, guys, let me know if you do have actually any questions within that you want to ask me. Absolutely pop them down into the chat, because if we don't get any calls tonight, we might just end this a little bit early. I'm not afraid to do that. But if you do want the show to kind of have a bit of a decent flow tonight, I would love some questions in the comments here. So Jeff says, great. So we're flying through space on a giant frisbee. Yeah, man. And we're just hurtling towards some dog's mouth. So who knows what's going to happen there? What kind of dog? Who knows? Australian Yowie. This is also AKA Yowie Dan. I can absolutely just tell this by the questioning. This man has built a brand much around this. Kay, do you think aliens wear thongs? Yeah, I don't really think they're into briefs or boxers, so maybe thongs would be their jam. Who knows? It might fit much better within their spacesuits, but apart from that, I don't really know. I would probably say it would be a safe assumption. I think they would probably be a little bit more streamlined than traditional boxers. So yeah, every chance that aliens would wear thongs. It just, I don't know, it just seems to make sense. And who knows, aliens could be quite thick. So that could be great. We do have a call coming in. I'm going to get them live on the air. Caller, what's your name and where you from?
Oh, hello. I just turned this off. It's Shane.
G'day, Shane.
Hello, Kate. I came up with the idea last night, actually on Attila's preview of track number 2. I was thinking Yowies are attracted. I know it's off subject from the moon and everything.
No, I'm all for a Yowie chat, mate.
All right. I was thinking, so Yowies are repelled by the game cameras because of the light that comes off them, the infrared. They see it, right? So I was thinking, what if we made a sound-triggered game camera instead?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's...
Yeah. Sorry, it was very quiet.
Yeah, no, that was me thinking, because it was such a great question. That's really cool.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do at Christmas time, I'm going to see my cousin who's an electrics whiz. So I'm going to have a talk to him and see how hard it would be to rip out the vision activated part and put in a sound activated part instead. That's a really
great idea. The thing that would throw up a red flag for me in the way that would work is, like, how sensitive do you have to make the microphone on it? Because, you know, you hear reports that these things like almost move silently throughout the bush.
Yeah, well, that was the thing that came on to one of the subjects that they talked about last night. What sort of sounds should it be activated by? But I thought any sound at all, because to mention someone else, Yowie Dan has recorded sounds of things coming up to the microphone, so you never know.
Yeah, it's
Then again, it could turn on all the time with wind, but I mean, some cameras do that anyway with wind. You know, branches moving and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, you probably wouldn't find that would be too different depending on the sensitivity of some of the cameras that activate by motion. One of the things that I would be interested in is those really, really old school security sensors that kind of adjust those white panels of plastic.
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, I wonder, you see them on a lot of like floodlights still. I wonder what kind of mechanism is within those to generate the motion activity within those. That might also be worth looking at, because I don't know if that's an infrared light. Very well could be, but that would be pretty interesting.
I'll ask about that if I remember it. I'm not an electronics whiz, but I can solder. So, I mean, if I could find a board on eBay or something that does sound activation, I can ask my cousin about how can I solder this in and get rid of the light activation.
Yeah, yeah. You've really got me
rid of that.
thinking there, because I wonder if you could even go a step further and do like I wonder if there's like a radio frequency field that you can generate, where if something walks into the field, it activates it, or even a step further than that is kind of like a mat under the ground that's pressure sensitive, and if something walks on it, it activates the camera.
Yeah, well, I just seen Yowie Dan's suggestion. Yeah, I don't know how they work, whether they're electric or not. I'm guessing they are.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, I just see Yowie Dan. He like literally just commented the same thing that I kind of said there. I might put that on the screen, because that's a fantastic idea. Great minds think alike there.
Yeah, that's right. Well, hopefully someone is into electrics that's on here and actually mucks around and does that,
Yeah. It's that's a really cool idea there, and it'd be really interesting to see if we can. It'd be super crazy expensive, but like a FLIR enabled camera. I don't know if that would be possible, but who knows? Who has enough money to figure that out? Not me.
Yeah, well, that's out of my price range.
Yeah, me too, mate. Me too, mate. One thing, now that I've got you on the line,
yes,
you called up a couple of weeks ago on our voicemail, and
you put me on the spot,
mate. Do you want to share that?
That's okay.
Do you want to share what happened there?
Okay. All right. So it was near dark, but it was still full daylight. It was maybe half an hour before dark. But yeah, full light. As you know, I've got a bad knee, so I'm hobbling a little bit. I'm not walking fast like a normal person, but I'm not limping with a walking stick now, luckily. So I was picking a few mandarins off a tree, citrus. It's like a mandarin tree. And it's on a path beside the back of the house. And there's another path, like imagine a T-shaped path, branches off and goes up the side of the house towards the front. Now, what I done was I turned around, I started walking towards the back door of the house, and if you turn to your left, you're walking towards the front of the house. If you go straight, you're going towards the back door of the house. I was going straight, and I just happened to see out of the corner of my eye this big dark shape thing. It was just past the front of the house, and it was huge. It was wider than a wheelbarrow, or probably 1.5 wheelbarrows wide. It was taller than blue. What do you call them? The 44-gallon plastic drums. I've got one of them out the front. That I dip water out of buckets to water plants. It was between me and that drum, and it was so tall that it was hiding that drum. It wasn't as tall as a human. Remember, I only seen this, and I took 2 steps, and I was behind the house. So this thing was, from what I could see, it looked like it was ducked down in a ball shape. I didn't even see its head. I basically, what I seen was its shoulders, and if you duck down and put your arms beside your legs and just sort of squatted down, well, this thing was so big, obviously, that it was nearly up to my shoulders, I would say. It was big, black. I'd say it was hairy. It looked hairy, but I couldn't really tell because it happened so fast. So I took them 2 extra steps. I lost the vision of it because the corner of the house blocked me. Then I stopped. I took 2 steps back. I looked, and it was gone. It was just gone in a flash. And and there was that's the bit that scared me. It's gone totally silently in the daytime. I would have seen it if it was anywhere within 10 to 15 metres. I don't know where the hell it went. So anyhow, after that, I went as fast as I could into the house, and I locked the door.
Unbelievable, man. That's scary. I didn't realize at the time when you left that message, I didn't know that was a daytime encounter. That is.
Oh,
Whew.
didn't I mention that?
No, I don't think you did. That's scary.
Okay. Yeah, well, it was very, very close to dark. I don't know what it was doing. Maybe it was doing something. Maybe it was watching me while I was picking fruit off the tree, watching me through the gaps in the tree. And I just happened to walk, and it's probably went, oh, shit, and it's ducked down in a hurry and hoped that I didn't see it. And, it must have worked. Anyhow, I didn't see the shape of the head. That's the weird thing. It's sort of like a position like a footy player in a scrum,
Yeah, right. That is a unique position.
Yeah, well, I mean, it might have had its knees bent down as well. I didn't see its legs or nothing. But between me, there was the path. There was maybe 10 or 15 metres. There's a path. Then there's a wheelbarrow. And then there's the Yowie, whatever it was. And then there's the water drum. It was tall enough to block the water drum. So I do know that. The water drum's blue. I should have seen it,
And is that kind of like one of those standard water drums that's about 700 millimeters high?
It's a 44-gallon plastic drum that you see on Facebook Marketplace and places like that.
Yeah.
I just cut the top of it, like the ones that transport liquids in, like food liquids. It's meant to be a food-safe drum.
You're not doing any Jeffrey Dahmer actions with that plastic drum, mate.
No, that's definitely for watering plants. I've cut the top out of it and catches rain. Nice one.
No, very good, mate. Very good. Hey, mate, I do have a question from someone in the comments here about your encounter.
Yeah, I've got distracted and I haven't been reading comments, so fire away.
Fire away. So Brown Dwarf, he asked, was it gone in a flash or do you think it disappeared?
Well, I don't know because I was still walking and I took the 2 steps, and by the time I'd stopped and stepped back, remember I got a buggered knee, so I'm not moving too fast, but yeah, by the time I'd stepped back, it was just gone. So I don't know whether it disappeared or whether it ran or whatever, but I didn't hear a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's a crazy encounter, and the thing is, like, you kind of live in a fairly suburban area from my understanding, and the thing.
Yeah, well, Yowie Dan knows my address, so he's seen it on a map. He does know that there are houses around, but there are a lot of bush too. There is a lot of bush too,
yeah.
And my full of bush.
Mate, scary.
Well, most of it.
Creepy stuff, scary stuff. It's it's fun to think that these things are out in the bush. It's not so fun to think that these things are in your backyard.
Well, as I said, a neighbour had one in their yard. They've seen it jump the fence and that. So, and there's another person who's not a neighbour. They're up the other end of the street about 3/4 of a kilometre. What's that? 600-700 metres away.
Yeah.
And they're right next to the bush, and they're trying to get a big fence put up because they've seen stuff too.
Wow.
And they've seen and heard stuff, and they hid in the house. Her and her daughter were hiding in the house, from this thing. So, yeah, I can't talk too much about it. I can't give away clues of location, but yeah.
Of course not, mate. Of course not. No, I understand.
Yeah.
No, mate.
It's broad location by saying that.
It's it's scary, mate, and I do thank you for calling in. You've been a regular caller for the call in show through the many I guess versions that it's become, and you've had a lot of audio and I guess unseen experiences with this creature, and I don't know how you feel about it, but I am kind of happy for you that you've had a bit of a sighting of it, because it lets you know, hey, this thing is definitely around your place.
Yeah, well, we've got a trail cam up at the back of the house now, so if it comes near the toilet window, as it has before, it's going to get caught, or near the doors or anything. And also we've got sensor lights around most of the house now. So, then that was a suggestion by you from AYR. So we've actually done that. But where it was, there wasn't a sensor light either. So, yeah, and I can't put one there.
Yeah, right. Crazy stuff, man.
Unless I put it on a tree or on a post or something.
Yeah, very cool.
I'll give you permission to play that audio if you want.
Awesome, man. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll have to find it. Like, I haven't got on it.
That happened about, I rang up about 1 or 2 days after it happened. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't got it on me right now. I have it in a big list of like voicemails. I know I've got it in there. I was trying to get to it the last call-in show that I was doing the voicemails on Tales from the Voicemail. And your one just, I think it would have just missed out on getting played. So, next time I do it, I'll definitely I'll include it, because it's fascinating. You don't really get to hear someone report their encounter that soon after it happens.
All right. You know, the one that puzzles me the most, but is the one where it came up to the bathroom window, and I was on the loo, and the window was open, and it poked its head out towards where I'd see it in the window, and it slowly moved out to where I would see it. Then it slowly moved back, but I didn't see its eyes or its mouth or its nose or nothing. I don't know why, but it was dark.
Yeah.
That one puzzles me. Why was it doing that? Was it curious to see what I was doing, or was it doing it on purpose to annoy me or whatever?
He's a creeper, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Well, you did say it at the time. I've got a stalker.
I'll stick by that.
Scary. That's actually scary if that is the case.
Absolutely, absolutely. If it if it has a fascination with you, man, that makes it a dangerous situation.
Yeah, well, fascination with anyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Scary stuff, man. But Shane, thank you so much for calling in, man. It was cool to talk to you, and thank you, because I got a chance to share that story of yours, mate.
Yeah. I'm glad you did. All right, thanks.
No worries, mate. Thank you very much.
All right, bye.
Cheers, mate. All right, so we got a lot of people who are kind of watching from the Cairns region saying that the moon looks nuts tonight. So I don't know if you guys are keen, but I can potentially hook up the iPhone up to the computer wirelessly now, I think. So if you are interested in that, I could potentially try it, see if we can get it to connect. Because I would be pretty interested to see what this thing looks like. I just have to be careful not to give away where the studio is, because it's a secret. Close friends know where it is, but I like to have a little bit of mystery around the podcast. So let me know in the comments, like, would you be interested in me like popping out there, having a look at the moon? We'll see. We do have another call coming in, so I'm going to get the caller live on the air. Caller, what's your name and where you from?
It's Rod from Brisbane.
G'day, Rod.
And g'day. And to all the listeners, and especially Michelle, my Yowie partner.
Oh, so, lovely.
Yeah, so great to be on tonight.
Mate,
And,
thank you for calling.
mate. Yeah. Well, a little bit about myself. I suppose occupation is the the first thing. Prior to this job, I had a couple of UFO encounters.
Lovely.
And so my dream job was always to work on a defence base. And the dream came true, and I ended up on a defence base as a night shift security worker. And in the last, I've had 3 UFO sightings on base. Probably the last, the third last one was about maybe 5 years ago. That was very interesting. When my partner and I first saw it, I actually I put it down to atmospherics. It was just after dark, and anyway, so that was on base. But I started doing a little bit of research into sightings, and there was a sighting in the UK. So this is 5 years, or my sighting was 5 years ago. And what this chap in the UK saw was very, very similar to what I'd seen. So I sort of changed my mind and scrubbed out the atmospherics and then put that down to possible UFO sighting. So this was north to the base. My patrol partner was very, very excited about what we'd seen. But fast forward to the last probably 7 weeks, I had an encounter. I was off base at the time, and to the southwest, and that was very, very interesting. And then in the last week, this happened off base. I had a weekend away and to the southwest of Brisbane, and an absolutely amazing encounter. But I think the regularity of sightings is going to increase. I sort of keep an eye on the Brisbane UFO Watchers Facebook page. People are seeing things. I've been on base 13 years now. Sort of considered myself that's my job as an observer. So that's my brief, observe and report. So as I said, I'm in the process of. I've got my second last sighting. I've got that documented now, and off to I don't know if you know Bill Chalker. So and this last one, which was that would have been a fortnight ago.
Oh wow!
I've got to put that report together and get it off to Bill as well. Do you know of Bill Chalker at all, mate?
You know, the name is familiar, but I don't know him one-on-one, like personally or anything like that. But the name is definitely ringing a bell for me.
He's written a few books. Once you sort of start delving into the strange, it's probably a good way to put it. There's a lot of good people to talk to. Very knowledgeable. Yep. Gary Opert put me onto Bill.
Oh, lovely.
And so Gary's very well. You probably know Gary's very interested in all things strange. So
indeed.
Gary and I get on like a house on fire. So he's been around a while, a bit like myself. Mate, paranormal. Love the Yowie, and UFOs. I suppose if you've been around a while and you spend a bit of time out in the bush, you're certainly going to see things that catch the eye and make you start thinking that our little cocoon world if you start looking, it can make you a little bit uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, mate. The technical aspects of things, triggering stuff. Yeah, you're dead right. Once you start going into defence grade equipment, the equipment's there, but Joe Average can't get your hand on it, but all that stuff is available,
Absolutely.
It's just the cost of things, Now, I'll give you a bit of a brief example. You will catch stuff as per Yowie. You will catch it on IR. It's circumstance, we did a trip down to the Pilliga, and that was a very, very interesting trip. But I've got no problems citing locations, because we ended up down at the Salt Caves there, and this was May 2021. Anyway, we tried to get back again this year in May 2022. We got chased out of there like the proverbial dog with its tail between its legs with the flood. But that was the plan, but unfortunately it didn't come to fruition. But we're going to have another crack at it in May next year. So everyone's keen and gearing up for it. As far as the Yowies went, I'd had a couple of encounters, and just on Facebook one day I saw an invitation to join a new Facebook group, and it was just Joe Average or Joanne Average, who was keen to go out and just have a wander out in the scrub, even from the first get together, we all became pretty thick as thieves, so everyone was keen, and so we did. We've got our favourite areas, my favourite is Witherin, and
great location. That's a great location.
But a big shout out to AYR, because it's a database that gives you the hot spots. So if you've got the time, you just head out bush, and see what happens. But okay, so back to IR and the Pilliga. Now we'd Bob, he'd had a fairly good setup. Well, I considered it pretty good as far as IR went. I think we probably had half a dozen IR cameras. I hope I'm not boring people too much, but okay,
no, not at all.
So we had a camper van, quite a flash-looking unit that Bob hired for the week.
Home base.
I had a tent set up, and Steve, he had a swag. Anyway, the missus, she came down with me. She, the ultimate skeptic. But so I'll just stick to the IR stuff. So we had a reasonable setup, and we thought we had it fairly well figured out as far as power went, But what was happening is we'd run out of power roughly about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and basically this creature knew when the IR went out. There was some little red telltale lights on the IR cameras themselves, but what
Oh, what happened there? I think we...
The open scrub and a defined bush edge. Anyway, Bob, we were sitting around the campfire, and Bob said, "I'm just going to check the camera." Anyway, so he sort of said, "Rod, come and have a look at this." Anyway, so we had it a live feed onto the laptop, And on this defined bush edge, there was a set of eyes looking at us. You could see the eyes clearly through the scrub. So basically, that 70 metres. It's only my theory, but they definitely see IR, and that 60, 70 metres is probably their comfort zone. If they come in any closer, maybe it hurts their eyes too much, or they think that we could see them in the black. But that was very, very interesting. That it would come into that to that distance, and then be quite happy to sit there and watch us. But as you could appreciate, the Salt Caves is probably a good half hour running from the Newell. When you're sitting there out in the scrub around the campfire, and you've got this creature watching you at 60 metres, it's very interesting. But
it'd be hair raising, that's for sure.
well, I'll give you a bit more. Our first night in there, Bob had got in early and set up camp. Him and Pa, his partner, and then we rolled in, and we gathered up some timber, got a fire going, and anyway, my wife, the biggest skeptic, so this is about 7:30 in the evening, and she decided to go up to the gazebo, which was only 10 steps from the campfire, and she went up to get a drink out of the esky, and anyway, there was a lot of hooting and hollering, and in her hand she'd taken up a small service station torch, which was probably half flat, and we had a little bit of music playing in the background, and she walked up to the gazebo, heard noise coming from the opposite direction, and she looked up, and at 25 feet, 7 foot tall, covered in hair, it swung around the corner of this tree and looked at her.
Wow.
Yeah, so Karen, as I said, she had this torch, this half-flat torch in her hand. She shone the light on its face. It threw its arm up to cover its eyes, and then Karen started yelling. So we all quickly dashed up, but Karen had turned around, and again, this is the speed of these things. She turned around to start yelling at us to come and look at this thing. And as I said, she was the biggest skeptic in the world.
It always happens to the skeptics, doesn't it?
Oh, mate. Well, so in that time that we took, which was only, as I said, it's only probably 10 or 12 steps from the campfire to the gazebo. We all arrived, and this thing had just moved off and back into the scrub. And so we were there for the week, and it was quite content to have nightly visitations. All the visitations occurred after the IR cameras powered down at night, and you could hear through the
wow.
rustling around through the camp and all the rest of it. Was I ever? Well, I honestly think if it had heard us unzip any tents, it would have just departed the area. So it is very, very interesting. Even the human psyche of the process. But we had our sighting, or Karen had her sighting on the first night. As I said, we caught it on the IR cameras. Quite happy to sit there and watch us. it's funny how you get onto Yowie. I really wanted to talk about UFOs, but I'm going to this Yowie one. So, we had a week, and we had a week of very high strangeness. We had gifting. It was quite content to accept oranges, which I gladly ate. We left an orange out the second night. It grabbed the orange and walked around the back of Steve's Land Cruiser, and Steve had his swag there, and this thing was quite happy to sit there, I'd say 12 feet from Steve's swag, unpeel the orange, and lean against the back of his Land Cruiser. Got some very, very cool footage of photos of handprints and the rest on the back of Steve's Land Cruiser, and sit there and watch our camp. Well,
Wow.
basically be in our camp. We had the whole gamut of incidents, ranging from the sighting, gifting, hieroglyphic, vocalization. If you're happy for me to talk about the vocalizations?
Mate, what I might do is I'm actually super keen to chat to you like way more in depth, because I've only got a couple more minutes left of the live show. But what I want you to do is I want you to shoot me a message on the May Facebook page, or send me an email, because I have 100 million questions for you, because I feel like I can't do justice to what you're telling me right now. I want to do a proper episode with you.
Yeah, mate, not a problem, mate. I'll just give you a tidbit on the vocalizations.
All right, mate. Oh, you've got a couple minutes, so if you can fit it in quick, I'm all for it.
I find this very, very interesting. And I'm sure the listeners will too. We would have been probably third night in, and we were all sitting around the campfire. Okay, Steve says to me, he says, "Can you hear that?" And being around jets and that, my hearing's shot, and being a hunter, the old hearing's not as good, And I said to Steve, I said, "What are you hearing?" And we stood up and we walked just to the west of the camp, only probably 10 steps, but just to get away from the local noise. And he said, "I'm hearing like, it sounds like two people arguing in the bush."
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Mate, I'm not hearing that." And he said, "Yeah, I can hear it." Anyway, so we went back to the campfire, and then Bob and I got up and we walked, maybe 40 metres to the east of the camp. Anyway, we were probably there, I'd say maybe a minute or two, and then to the east of us, it's hard to guesstimate, but I'd say 400 to 500 metres, there was a vocalisation. Very hard to describe. A lot of air. As I said, I was a hunter, a deer hunter, and this thing, the lung capacity was just incredible. If you know what a red deer sounds like in the roar, they bellow, and this thing, it bellowed. Definitely no deer through the pilliga, but I found that incredible. So Bob and I quickly made our way back to camp like mongrel dogs. But so that put the hackles up. But okay, so the kicker was, it might have been 2 days later, the Karen and Steve went to Narrabri to resupply. Bob and Pa went down to have a look at Hickey Falls because we were down in the area. Everyone was keen to get down there.
Oh, yeah.
But I was in camp myself. Anyway, so I'm in camp by myself. I hear a car door up at the day use area, and I thought, we've got people in here, Anyway, I could see the heads bobbing past our camp as those bird watchers. They were heading down to the Salt Cave Dam. which was popular for bird watching. Anyway, I thought to myself, well, I'll catch up with these guys on their return trip. So anyway, so they a couple of hours later, I could see these heads bobbing through the scrub. So I gave them a hoy and invited them in for a cup of tea and a yarn. Anyway, the usual questions, and then they said to me, "What are you guys doing here?" And I said, "Oh, we're chasing the Yowies." Anyway, the old fella, he just started to have a bit of a smirk on his face. Anyway, his missus basically elbowed him in the ribs, and she said, "Well, you explain what we heard last night." And anyway, they were camped at Dandry Gorge, and they were there by themselves. And I said to them, "What did you hear?" And the old fella and her, well, she said, it sounded like someone arguing in the bush.
Oh, stop it.
So what they said, and Dandry Gorge is roughly 35 kilometres to the south of the Salt Caves, but they described it to a T exactly what Steve had heard. And, mate, that was a kicker. I found that absolutely amazing.
That is mind-blowing. That's incredible. What's the odds of that?
Yeah. So, very, very interesting. And, people's perception. Yeah, once you start diving into things, people can't, they try to explain to themselves, I think, more than other people what they're actually experiencing.
100%.
Again, with Yowie, another spot I'd looked into, the adjacent property owner was describing what to me was classic Yowie activity, but he thought he had a poltergeist. And how many times do you hear people that they're unaware of Yowie? I wouldn't say they're not to the idea of Yowie, but they just don't realise that these things are out in the bush.
Absolutely.
They would rather say this. We have poltergeist activity, mate. When I hear that, my ears really, really prick up. Yeah, because they're seeing physical things.
Yeah.
So very interesting. But
Absolutely.
Kate, I'll shoot you an email, and I've made as I said, I think. It's hard to guess the demographics with as far as age goes, but I think once you've been around for a little while and you sort of awake to what's happening around you, there's a lot of weird stuff out there.
Indeed, there is, my friend, and I can't wait to dive in deep with you because you've raised a super interesting avenue for the Yowie. So I'm super keen to go down that there with you. So, mate, please email me or message me on Facebook. Let's continue this conversation and let's get you into the lore of the podcast, mate.
Okay, mate.
Awesome.
I'm just having at the moment. I've just come off night shift. My last night was, and then. Mate had dramas with his boat, and I've had 2 hours sleep. So,
mate, you sound like me, except I got kids.
Mate, big phase. But mate, I will definitely have. I'll put an email together for you, and we'll organise a yarn. But
hey,
I'm
down for it. Awesome, man. Yeah, thank you so much for calling in. You're an absolute pleasure to chat with.
Yeah, not a problem, Kate. Looking forward to our next talk.
Me too, mate. Cheers, mate. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Wow, what a way to end the show. That is super, super incredible. Now, I'm going to try this thing. So look, guys, if you've enjoyed the show tonight, thank you so much. It's been great having you here. Thank you to all the callers that have called in, Shane and Rod. You were fantastic. 2 great Yowie encounters. Rod, what a legend. Sounds like he's still an active serviceman who works on Army base. So yeah, that's super cool to hear from him. Going from UFO encounters straight into Pilliga Yowies. Holy moly, I love that. I feel like the Pilliger's been a little bit quiet as of late, so that's really cool to have him come on and kind of share those stories. And I'm really keen to dig in more with Rod there, especially about the whole Yowie poltergeist connection there, because that's something that I've heard a lot as well. Well, not a lot, but it's enough to make me go, hey, there's something there. So, guys, I'm super keen to chat to him. So I really do hope he emails me, because, some people, they come on here and they tease me with these great stories, and I only have a fraction of time to talk to them, and they never get back in contact with me. So, fingers crossed we can get that to happen. Now, guys, I see a lot of you were asking for me to go out and show you the moon. So, look, I can try to do it. I'll see if I can get this to wirelessly connect. So, look, guys, thank you for joining me tonight. A whole bunch of you are going to drop off with me trying to do this. I don't even know if it's going to work. But essentially, if you are joining us late, if you like what you see here, please join the Believe Plus membership on our website, because basically right after this here, this is going straight onto the Believe Plus portal, and will only be accessible there. So if you are joining us late, sorry, but that's kind of how this goes. Also, before I wrap up, big thank you to, I have to get this right, because I knew I'd get it wrong. I had it on my screen and I lost it. I got this sweet shirt from Down Under Mysteries. It is cool. Check it out. Check that out. It's little aliens with a spaceman, and I don't know how clear it shows up there, but yeah, look at that. Aliens celebrating Christmas with an astronaut. So if you like that, go check him out. What's his Instagram handle? He's also got a Facebook page, but it is Down Under Mysteries. Just that, Down Under Mysteries. So go check him out. I love this shirt. I commented on it on Instagram, and he or she was lovely enough to send me a copy. What would you call it? One of them. That's an easy way to say it. He sent me one of them, and I said I'll wear it tonight on the live show and give them a bit of a plug, because why not? You got to support everyone, because if you don't support anyone, like, what are you doing? You got to support the little people. So, guys, I am going to try and get this to connect wirelessly to my phone. Absolutely no promises. I don't think it's going to work, but we will see what we can do. Give me 1 second. So thank you. If you guys want to jump off now, that's totally fine. The show's essentially ended, but we're going to try to do some fun stuff here, and we can get this to connect. So, new movie recording. Let's see. Cool. There we go. I think this is working. Okie dokie. Now, I can't take the microphone with me, so I am going to take this, see what we can do. All right. So, guys, I don't know if you're hearing me. Hello, can you hear me on here now? Hopefully you can. Look at that. I've got it all on here. This is groovy. Okay, let me know if you can hear me. Yes, no, maybe. Let's see. It tells me that you maybe can. So, I am going to go out. I don't know how well this is all going to work, but let's go see the moon. All right. Okay, we're walking through the super spooky dark office. Yeah, no, it doesn't look that exciting. I don't really see too much going on, unfortunately. So, yeah. Let's go back. Okay. How am I going to do this? Okay, 1 second. Settings. Change our camera to that one. There we go. Okay, now let's change our audio. Look, there we go. Cool. So, look, I don't know if you could see that or not. Tell me if that worked for you. Maybe not. So yeah, that seemed like it worked, but that was also a tour of the spooky haunted office. So if you're from Cairns, you may know where I am now. You can kind of figure out there were some landmarks there. So, look, guys, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging with you tonight. And if you do like the show, please highly consider becoming a Believe Plus member. You'll get access to about 50 plus episodes. I've got a new podcast in the making, UFO Encounters, I believe it's called, or UFO. I don't know, something like that. But essentially, it's a collection of my favorite UFO encounters. The first one is going to be on the Tully saucer nest. So if you are into that story, let me know, because we can... I'm going to get that done. So I've done the first couple of episodes, written them out, gonna record them, but that's pretty much it. So... look, guys, it's been a real pleasure hanging out with you tonight. And thank you so much for everyone who has called in, watched, participated. It's been a real pleasure. And look, guys, I'm going to catch you on the next live show. Hopefully we can get Gary Lynn on then. If not, that's all good. You know, people have responsibilities and stuff like that. And who knows, he may not even have the bloody internet by then. So thank you for joining me tonight. We will be back in about 2 weeks for the final live show of 2022. So who knows, it might be something special. And guys, we might do it to our. We'll see if the the calls come in, because that kind of dictates what's going to happen there. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me tonight. All 30 something people who are still around. Thank you so much. You have a fantastic weekend. Okay, let me know what you get up to, and I will catch you on the next live show. Thank you.